Now. Hi, this is Ken Gosnell with CEO Experience, and today I'm honored to host Chad Watts, the CEO and co-founder of Scars and Stripes Coffee, to our CEO conversation. Scars and Stripes Coffee, as you can tell from the name, has a very unique purpose that's designed around helping veterans that have served our country in a way to help them have a fulfilling mission in their life after their times of service. So Chad, welcome to our conversation today. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. I see that you're on a road trip around. We're meeting some of your distributors all across the country. Can you tell us what you're doing real quick, as we can see that you're on the road?
Absolutely. So I apologize for any background noise, and hopefully it doesn't break up too much. But yeah, we're heading from Nashville down to Atlanta, Georgia. But last night we were in Nashville meeting a team there. So it's great to go out and meet these veterans and see the brotherhood and the sisterhood, the camaraderie coming back, and giving them a platform to do that. It's just so inspiring. So yeah, we're out on a road trip. We're going to hit here. We're going to go to Atlanta, and we're going to go to Alabama. And my partner, Colonel Brad Dean, is going to be graduating Air War College on Thursday. So we're excited for him.
Wow. Well, congratulations. I like the words "well done," so tell him well done for me if you can.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Scars and Stripes Coffee, can you tell us about the name and how you started the company? You have a great startup story.
Well, yeah, thanks for asking. Absolutely. This is a divine inspired company. I will tell you that for 42 years, I believed nothing. I was an atheist and was as passionate about being an atheist then as I am a believer today. And so none of this happened without our great Lord and Savior affecting my life and giving me a radically changed heart. But as a civilian, I've always admired veterans. And I grew up across from Tinker Air Force Base. So I always saw these men and women in uniform and admired them. And I worked with my partner for about 10 years. And in fact, for about the first 4 years, I never even knew he was a veteran. And then I talked to Brad, and I said, we always wanted to start a company together. And working at the VA, I would go in as an independent contractor. I worked in surgery. I would see these veterans come in. They would have, double amputee, some. But they would always smile and light up when they got around their team members or their brothers and sisters. And so I called Brett and I said, how can we get more veterans to be around people and kind of have that old camaraderie that they had before in the military? And he's like, well, we're sales guys. We can figure this out. And so there was some other companies out there that were selling coffee for veterans, and they were wanting to hire 10,000 veterans, and that was their mission. And it was a great, noble thing, and they're still going strong. But I thought, how could we empower even more and put a team underneath them? And so we started out looking at a multi-level marketing, and not that I don't think they work, but it just is not. I didn't want to have someone have a bunch of product in their garage. And so we kept looking, and we finally landed on a single level direct marketing program. And this is the only unique demographic that I feel like, or one of the unique demographics this would work in, is where most people, as you guys know, as a sales guy through and through, you would, if I'm not going to make money, it's going to be hard for me to get really excited about it. And especially if I'm working really hard for somebody else. You go to a national sales meeting, everybody in that room wants to get up on that stage. These guys are different. They just want to be a part of a team. And I tell you what, they want all of their brothers and sisters to be on that stage. So to start something where you have a rank structure where there's teams being built, and you're saying, hey, I need you to help me at this event, this coffee event. I need you to help me here. And you're just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. This is the one demographic this will work in. And it is working. And it's wonderful. And you can just see the true spirit of this and why the military is so strong. So that's kind of the model where you come in as a team member. And as you gain rank, you have to do certain things. Once you gain that rank, you get promoted to a squad leader. Now you're accountable to a team underneath you of 10 people. Then you can get to platoon sergeant and then first sergeant. But the nice thing is that now you have teams of veterans helping veterans through a structured, scalable, and sustainable model through coffee. We're not a nonprofit, we're a for-profit. And that's what's going to make it so sustainable, is that eventually we'll be self-sustaining. But the coffee is the conduit, and it's working. So just some technology and stuff. We're advancing our technology to make that process easier to get involved and give them more sales tools to understand how to go out and conduct and make their own business. So that's kind of the model behind it. And we've got 200 team members across the country. You can call it affiliate marketing, but they don't view it that way. They view it as keeping their brothers and sisters accountable and creating a network of veterans that they can count on and they can call for. And they're physically contacted, but that's part of the rank structure. You have to go and do fishing trips. That's part of it. You don't have to, but that's part of the rank structure. It's family days, fishing trips, doing events, going out to retail accounts. Just Monday morning muster is a huge part of the military. So as a team lead, you have to conduct Monday morning muster at least twice a month, which means I reach out to my brothers and sisters and I check on their mental status first. We call it, see how their mind is. And then we go on to their family, we go on to business. And that's how we do it. It's faith, family, business.
I like it. I like it. Well, you mentioned your faith and your move from an atheist to Christianity. How has your faith shaped your idea of business, or is there certain biblical principles that you've really integrated into the life of your business?
So one of the things that we're doing is my Bible study group really pressed me on this. And they said, well, if we go to your website, how do we know who the source of power, the source of strength is? Because all we see is scars and we see stripes and we see coffee. And I said, well, scars is for the scars of that veterans live with. Thank you for that. Stripes is Isaiah 53:5, with his stripes we're healed. I said, it's right there. He says, but how does someone really know that without asking that question? Coffee is the common denominator. I truly believe if you and I had a different opinion and Jesus was there to give us a cup of coffee, we would both walk away friends after the cup of coffee. And so they kept pushing me on this. And I said, well, we've built a new website. And so there's a veteran portal in the website. One of the things that we're about to implement is a study of each week. We put on there a study of Jesus, because this is not a religious organization, but it is 1000% an organization that believes in Jesus Christ and how he conducted himself. And that's what I love, is how Jesus just loved people and he changed the world forever. So it still exists. So we're going to show how Jesus was in every book of the Bible and where he showed up and how prophetic Jesus was. If you don't believe, that's okay. Just listen to the stories. I didn't believe before either, but I kept listening to the stories and I kept seeing that when you prophesy something and it comes true, it's pretty powerful. And so that's what we're doing. That's how we're going to affect the teams. But it's interesting, Ken, like the one thing that I don't know, and we can roundtable this question real quick, because if you want, but one of the things I learned about starting your own business is that Luke 4:24, basically Jesus tells us, and this is something that was really struggling, because when you evolve something of your business from scratch, from nothing to something, and everybody closest to you that would say, we believe in when God, we love what you're doing. We love the veterans. It's a great business idea. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Have you bought any coffee from a veteran? Mm. No, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. And it really affected me. It really kept reading in Luke 4:24, Jesus says, you the closest to you won't realize who you are. And in fact, they'll cast you out. It's others that hear about you that aren't maybe as close to you that will actually get involved in your mission. And that was a hard thing to learn. It was a very discouraging thing. But when Jesus tells me that, it's pretty phenomenal. That's when you start going, all right, Jesus, I'm listening, I'm reading. I can talk to you all day long, but I need to listen to you. And so anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, other than the fact that I don't know if others, business leaders out here on the call have experienced that, but it was a really, really hard thing for me to learn.
Well, I think we've gotten some comments that they're sending them to me privately too, but I think, almost every spiritual leader I've talked to has had times where, and every entrepreneur goes through times of rejection, but I think spiritual leaders sometimes go through the rejection of those that are closest to them, or the lack of support, like what you were just talking about. So I think that is a powerful story. So that inspired you to think outside the box. Is that part of that model that you said, hey, I got to go find People that,
I think what it is, and how and Jesus keeps inspiring us, is that we keep our eyes focused on him. We keep talking about it. We keep praying about. And so when you have your affiliates out there, whatever your business model is, if you're a manager and you have employees and they're sales reps or whatever they are, and if you get into that discussion, it's a segue into saying, okay, I know you may not believe in Jesus, or maybe you do believe in Jesus, but let me just tell you something that I read that I was really struggling about. And so in your walk or in your daily activities, if you're experiencing saying, why can I convert my brother or my neighbor or whoever who knows me? This is the same thing Jesus experienced. But he's telling us, don't worry about it. Keep pushing, keep asking, keep opening doors, keep knocking on doors. You will be blessed. And it may not become from the people that you think is going to bless you.
yep. Well, I agree. You know, one of the principles that we teach is moving from owner to overseer, and the idea of stewardship, right? And part of that stewardship means fulfilling the call that God has given to us to the best of our ability, which means continuing to push, continuing to move forward, even in the midst of rejection or finding new streams of opportunity, reaching out to new customers. Those kinds of things is a real stewardship. Hey, I love the name of your company, Scars and Stripes, and I obviously resonate with the scars, the veterans, and like you said, thank you very much. And I work with a lot of veterans, and my brother was in the service, so I grew up really valuing the work that our veterans do and those in the military do. So I think that's wonderful. Hey, can you tell us the vision that you have for Scars and Stripes? What's the longer term vision that God's given you that you're really on a mission to fulfill?
It's really amazing because everything that I'm telling you is not come from my brain. It's just a conduit. And I keep praying about it. But one of the things that I really wanted to do, I kept asking God, how do I make this fair? How do I make it different? How do I make it uncorruptible, if you will, for lack of a better term? And so one of the things that we did was I kept hearing random generator. Now, people have heard of a random generate of customers, that kind of thing. But once you become a leader, we've developed technology. We're honing it even more, where it's called the vet generator. So if you're a leader, you get put into the vet generator. And what that means is you cannot check out of our website without empowering a veteran, an individual veteran, with 20% of your purchase. You can follow them on their Instagram and their Facebook. It's their URL. Follow the veteran's journey on that. So that's really shaped our company. And I have a vision, and God keeps showing me this vision of Amazon's great. They are. Don't get me wrong. It's great. But what if you had an Amazon-like company that you know that every time you purchase something, number one, it's high quality, and number two, it's empowering the veteran. Now, why is that important? People don't realize that we're having a recruitment problem, and our freedom, to use Ronald Reagan's, one generation away. It can change. If we're not getting people to sign up to go defend our country, they do two things. They provide us ability to have a conversation, disagree, and walk away still friends. We're still Americans. If you're wearing a mask, I'm not wearing a mask. We still love one another. We're still Americans, right? Number two, they provide us the ability to practice the faith that we want to practice, so long as it's not hurting people. Those are two very precious things that is the light of the world, right? And so what if you had a company that was Amazon-like, so they had great products, they had many products, and you know that, hey, I'm looking for fishing equipment, I'm looking for X, Y, whatever you call it. Let's go look at Scars and Stripes. So one day the vision is we drop the coffee off of the name. We have the bean logo, which a lot of people don't even know it's a bean logo and a flag, but they just know it. And it's Scars and Stripes. So that's the vision, is that this thing is much, much larger than just coffee. And we're going to provide more ways for veterans to be able to band together and create revenue sources for themselves and their family and keep that camaraderie going. And so the vision is much larger than just coffee. But then what can you do from there? Can you create little health? I'm in the medical business. So can you create medical boutiques where veterans can come in and out very quickly, get cataract surgery or whatever it might be, to make the veteran. This is all about the individual veteran. So that the vision's much larger, and I'm always looking for holes. So anybody that I would love to get emails from you guys. You guys are brilliant-minded people. Please poke holes in anything that I say and everything that I say, because we want to break it and make it better. Break it, make it better.
I love it, Chad. That's fantastic. Hey, can you give us your website so that anybody that's watching can go there and so they can place an order for the coffee and
100%. It's scarsandstripescoffee.com. Scarsandstripescoffee.com. All of our social media, Scars and Stripes Coffee. And yes, absolutely. Please buy some coffee. And what's really cool at checkout, you're going to see it'll populate 4 veterans for you to choose from. We're getting better. Thanks, Danielle. Appreciate that. It'll generate 4 veterans for you to choose from. That's randomly generated by our leaders. And those leaders are on their own time building their team, being accountable to them. So we had to do something as
Chad is in his RV headed seeing his team members. So I think he may have went through a bad spot, but we appreciate him being creative in this CEO conversation where he's traveling across. Chad, I think we might have you back now.
Oh, it's okay. Sorry about that. I could probably get us to pull over here. If you can find a rest stop, pull over
fine.
there.
You're fine. You're fine. Well, I want you to keep on your mission. I don't want you to get distracted. So keep going. But you were talking about at the checkout, they'll see the veterans that they can support.
Yeah. So the checkout, that's one thing. The vet generator is 4 veterans are going to be popped up. They're leaders. Just know that when you choose that leader, they're not just a veteran in the system. This is a hand up, not a handout company. So those people in that generator have proven through rank structure that they are building up their team. So 20% of your purchase is going back to them. So I had to incentivize becoming a leader, because it's eat what you kill company. I can't pay them to do that, but what I can do is I can incentivize them and make it like a free lead, if you will.
I love it. I love it. So, one of the things that's important is in any company and organization is building a great team. And you mentioned that maybe the team that you started to build came maybe from an area that you didn't expect it, because the people that were closest to you weren't necessarily supporting the mission as you began. How do you find great team members, and what's the mission now, and what do you go through when you start to have a veteran come into your company?
Well, I tell you, number one, meet a lot of people. Meet a lot of people. Number two, don't judge them the book by its cover. Because I will tell you, I am floored by the amount of people that I thought, oh, this is a Vietnam veteran, tattoos, long hair, string of hair, not gonna, one of our best people. Goes to events, keeps their. The other thing is, once you meet them and you look at that cover, trust your instinct. I've been burned. We've learned a lot on, just understanding that some people aren't out for the best. They may, start that way. So just trust your instinct. But number one, it's the rule of sales. It's the rule of anything, I think. But 10%, 10% is what's going to rise to the top. Now, hopefully what you do is you're able to take that person that may not be a leader currently, but has the heart to become one. And then you can teach them. Use what you know to teach that person to become a leader and bring people up. So that's the 3 things that I try to live by: is meet a lot of people, don't judge the book, and then trust your instinct once you start talking to them. And trust. I mean, I know you're talking to some brilliant minds here, but just trust them. Just trust yes, I am. Team Rubicon's great. We're trying to work with them. And that's a great question. I kind of I'll answer that is, nonprofits are great for veterans, but if you look at it, there's 20,000 nonprofits across the United States. There's only so much dollars out there for donations. So we'd like to become the glue between a lot of these organizations. Team Rubicon's a great one. Irreverent Warrior is a good one. Mission Continues is a good one. But what we like to do is we're looking at data. We want to know if what we're doing presents data and is something that is more than just, hey, we're a company out here. That's cool. I mean, that's how we do. But are we actually affecting any change? So real quick, Ken, if you don't mind, I'm pretty excited about this. But I'm reading questions here. I'm trying to. But so one of the things that we did Colonel Dean did is he wrote a thesis at Air War College. He wrote a thesis on what we're doing. And so we did a case study, meaning we got 5 of our leaders and we sat down and had an interview, just asking questions. They've been in from 6 to 12 months of the program, just ask them what they think of the program. It was really good direction. What the other research that he did was found that there's not a whole lot of information on reintegration. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. There is a lot of information on reintegration, what the problem is, but there's no solution, no study based on solution. Yes. So we're going to take this thing to the next level. We're actually getting that first paper published in the Journal of Journal of Military Conflict Transformation. So that's pretty cool. We're going to be published, but we're going to take that research to the next level, which we're going to have a control and experimental group, and we're going to look at TAPS. For those, it's transition assistance programs out of the military. So you go to an Army base, you take 30 people, they all go through TAPS, and then you randomly select 15 to go through 2 squads. They go through the rank structure, and you test them along the way. Then at the end of the 6-month test phase, we do the data analysis. I have a really good idea, my hypothesis of what the experience is going to be. This will be the first ever solution or possible solution to the veteran reintegration, or what we call resiliency in the military. Right now, we have 44% that come out post 9/11 say we have a real hard time reintegrating back into civilian life, and we have a 11 to 20% PTS rate. Now, here's an interesting thing. Go to Israel, and what you're going to find is that 1% of the military experience PTSD, and that resolves itself after 1 year. They have very little to no reintegration problem. Here's the biggest difference. Everybody in Israel has to serve 2 years. Okay, so everybody that comes back out of the military, they know what stress signals, distress signals, they know how to incorporate. In America, 1% serve, 99% don't. So it's really hard for people to really understand what that veteran went through and how to help them. Sorry, let me get back on here. Sorry. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at. We want data behind this company. And if you look at, I just feel like there's another thing in business. You can come in to a business meeting, and if you have data, it might not even be the right data, but if you have data and the other person doesn't, you're going to win. So, but obviously we want good data.
Well, and that's right. And, unfortunately, I think that it's one of the hidden secrets that's happened in America. It's not only some post-traumatic stress syndrome, there's a lot of suicides that take veterans out when they come back. And, obviously from a Christian perspective, one of the principles that I teach is Ephesians 2:10, that says that we're God's workmanship. We've been created to do good works that God's prepared in advance. And I believe that as a person, whether it's veterans or whatever situation people might find themselves in, when they go through stress or difficulty or hardship or even a virus like we're going through now, when you've found your calling, when you understand the identity of who you are and how you've been made and what you've been called to complete, Ephesians 2:10, the works that God has prepared in advance for you, and he's done that for every person, right? And so that's why I love what you do. I think it's so fantastic that you have developed this model specifically to help get veterans plugged into the business world so that they can fulfill the calling, because that's part of the identity I would believe that God's created for some of them to do. So well done, Chad. I think that's outstanding. And you're right about data. And so I'm glad that you're going to be publishing that and looking at it and really finding a workable solution. So now, is it only veterans that can join your company, or can people that resonate? How do you make that demarcation?
It's kind of funny because I'm the only civilian in this deal, so we kind of got a pretty cool 1-2 punch with Brad, and I'll talk to Brad. I'll say, hey, what do you think about this? He's like, nope, we're not doing that, and yeah, we can do that. And it's really interesting because the only people that can, we're all 1099s, and we had to check and because one of the things you do as a leadership position and you're building something new, you have to protect your people as best you can. So one thing I wanted to make sure was that we weren't violating any employment laws. And so we had a attorney write up a deal. It's basically because we're all 1099s, and actually veterans are a protected class, that we can be all veterans, veteran owned. So yes, you have to be a veteran. And we were talking about maybe doing a DD 214 as to affirm that you are. feel like that's a little bit too much. So we just ask the question. When they sign up at the website, they get their URL link. We get them signed in. We get them their squad leader, get them the tools they need, get them plugged in. And then it's pretty interesting though, Ken. It doesn't take long for a veteran to go, tell me where you served again. And luckily I don't think we've had any, but I know it's coming. And, so we don't really, we allow our veteran team members to, our leadership to ferret that out. If there's an issue, we're going to know it pretty quick. We pull their number and we pull their URL. They can't use it anymore, so they can't profit off of it. So we try to safeguard these guys. We want to make it special. We want to make it for the veteran and veteran only. We want to become the most trusted name in veteran empowerment.
I love it. I love it. So how are you recruiting? How are you finding veterans to add to your team?
Well, so right now it's word of mouth, but as we grow, and what we want to do is we want to go be part of the discharge program. We want to be if you will, a contracting arm of the VA. If we can provide data, we spend our tax dollars billions on this one problem, but most people, it's kind of like the problem no one wants to talk about, and it's understandably so for some of the things that are involved with it. But if we can solve this, we can be at every TAPS discharge. And I don't know if you've ever been to a football game or a NASCAR or whatever, and they're recruiting Army. It is so cool. They've got pull-ups, push-ups, contests, all that thing. I envision, because it's eat what you kill, it's not like we're going to give you money right up front, but what we're going to give you is a network, a mission, a purpose. And just our walk is going to make you a better person, period, in every aspect of your life. And so I just envision being at these discharge at the bases and things like that. We're going to have the push-up deal. We're going to have the contest. It's just imagine if you join the military and someone says, yes, come jump out of planes, go blow up stuff, do all that stuff. And when you're done, serve as long as, serve your 4 years. And when you're done, guess what? We've got a unique program called Scars and Stripes that you're going to have the opportunity to join. And I could see it eventually where the government says, we're going to pay you for up to 2 months based on your, how you interact with the group. You're going to get 2 more checks to get involved. We want you to immerse yourself in this program. And then, and because it's a program that you don't have to do full time. It's a part-time, or you could, right? So the recruiting is word of mouth right now. They see us on Fox News or something like that. And then we immediately get them someone plugged into to talk to. And then it's amazing. But again, it kind of goes back to that deal. You got to go through a lot of people to find the right ones. But hopefully those ones that maybe aren't the right ones finally get it. They finally, because there's a lot of skepticism, Ken. The veteran name has been abused so much that those guys are a skeptical bunch. And they should be. And so that's the model. That's the thought process in the future is going to, when these people come right out of the military, there could be, 22 up to 42, but get them right then and then continue word of mouth. So you have to look at the sales order and say, what is your cap or I think our ceiling is really, really high, being that coffee in itself is a $200 billion coffee market. And so there is in America, so second most consumed beverage after water. So we got a large, and you know what's interesting, because I noticed one of your questions, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling on here, but
I can tell you're passionate. I love it. I love leaders that are passionate about their business. Go ahead. Go for it.
Well, energy, Jesus will give you a lot of energy. When you're down, man, just pick up the book and start reading. But, so kind of lost track while I was saying there, but the
high ceiling?
The high ceiling, yeah. So, if you look at so if you can move market share a little bit, but not only can we move market share because of, gosh, if you like coffee and you're buying it anyway, and you love veterans, why not buy it you're buying it from an individual veteran. Not only that, you're going to be able to follow your money. Sign up to, follow them on Instagram and their social media, follow their journey. And if you don't like it, you can quit buying coffee from them. But the other cool thing is, and I thought we were going to, it's kind of funny how and I know this, but if you look at craft things that are out there that, I know that, maybe we should, not right, but if you like a beer every once in a while, craft beer is becoming so popular. Well, craft coffee has gotten a whole new demographic of younger people. They love the process of making craft coffee. So not only are we expanding our market, we're expanding our market into people that are used to and want to buy a higher end coffee. So the Folger, like, I hate to say this, but some of the Folgers drinkers are falling off, where we have a whole new sales organization or people to sell to that love the craft coffee. And so if you can, you know, what we want to do is make the veteran life something that you can experience when you see that bean out, right? And someone's, you know, either they're part of the company or they're a patriot civilian that loves Jesus and loves what our that, you know, they're we don't like, I mean, we do have some guns in our, like, veterans are, you know, they part of it, right? But we're not going to put it right in your face, because our thought is that there's way more that our military does than shoot at people. There's a lot of bottles of water handed out. There's a lot of rescue handed out. There's a lot of blankets handed out. There's a lot of, my favorite pictures of soldiers are them handing a candy bar to a little kid. I love that. Mm-hmm. But I know that there's tyranny out there. I know that there's spiritual warfare out there. I know that God has called on many, many people to have to go out and take out, and I don't know how deep you guys go, but we're studying the Nephilim right now and the hybrids and things like that. But, you know, those are some of the things that, you know, if you don't know Scripture, if you only know the New Testament, and then you hear somebody say, well, how does God tell his army to go out into a village and kill every man, woman, and child? Well, that sounds pretty awful. But when you find out, you dig deeper, you get more. Those were hybrids. That was the fallen angels' deceit on trying to create a new race. So anyway, I'm sorry, I got to kind of get deep on that, but
no, you're good. You're good. Look at
I'll
you.
come back up.
That's a good spiritual deep conversation, but it's good for us to look at that. Hey, we did get the question. I think you mentioned this before. You have a couple hundred veterans working for you now?
Yes.
And then what does a typical business opportunity look like if we would refer a veteran, or what do you tell the veteran that their typical business process looks like? I mean, I know you're mentioning the different levels that they can go in, but what's the financial rewards for them, or how does that work in your business?
So I'll give you an example. So at first we were consigning kits out. So if someone want to go to an event, events are big. They're really big, and we're kind of hampered, but we're opening back up. So essentially you can make between 20% and 35% commission on the gross sale. So you come in, it's $50 to sign up. That gives you don't even have to pay the $50 if you don't want to, but it gives you a starter kit and things like that. We're going to treat you just the same. We're going to give you your URL, but with the starter kit, you get your business card, sample copy, a shirt. We don't make any money off of it. We just provide that to them. But they sign up with their individual URL, and then we sign them up with the leader. And so anybody that comes to the website and uses their URL, then they get 20% commission. We pay it at the end of the month through their PayPal account. If they want to start doing events, then we get them in with their team. They look at the event and they say, and that's another thing, we want to teach these people to be good business stewards of their money. So if it's an event that has a too high of an event fee to get into, which that's not a good event, you're not going to make any money. Don't do it. Okay. But then we evaluate that. Then they buy their kit, and they can buy up to a certain dollar amount is 25% off, up to a certain dollar amount is 30% off, and then the highest 35% off. They go do their event, and then they also, anything that they do the event, any kind of donations, or they can brew coffee, sell it by the cup. They can do cold brew, sell it by the jar. So just to give you an example, we had a team member. She's actually a platoon sergeant, Tony Deason. She was in Oklahoma, went to a little neighborhood and got permission from the HOA, set up her tent, we provide the tents. That's the other thing. We provide the tents, the table covers. They have to have their own brewer and things like that. But we haven't given the assets for that to look professional. She made, in about a 4-hour period, she made roughly $300, right about $300. So it's pretty, it's pretty good. She got a 30% off kit. So she sold all of her coffee, and she sold cups of coffee, and she made about $70 in donations. So it works. It just works. So so if you ask me, it's like, what is a typical person? Everything is just like, who's hungry enough. So we've got people out there that are making, from $15 a month to $1,000 a month. It depends on how hard they want to work the business. But the commissions are what they are. It's you putting the blood in after that. So I don't know if that answers your question. Does that
No,
answer your
that's good.
question?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Now I'll tell you, Ken, what our goal is with this also is not only that is that this is a network. So these folks are used to traveling here and there, and so you might have someone that comes in that's a little needs a little polishing. That's what we do. So I also see that we could become the largest veteran job placement organization in the country, because we can bring in people that have they don't know how to adapt what they learned in the military to a civilian, and that now they're maybe got salty language, they got some things going on. We bring them in, we polish them up, and we've had this story happen. Say, hey, what'd you do on base? Well, I did this, but I got in trouble one time and I had to redo all the plumbing. I said, wait a minute, on the base you did yeah. Well, how did you learn? I go, well, I just figured it out. Was it fun? Yeah, I kind of had to enjoy it. Hey, you got a knack here. We've got somebody in another state that owns a plumbing business. We're gonna give them a call. Can you move? Yep, I can move. Okay, you're gonna go up there. You're gonna plug into that up there, that squad up there, and you're gonna start to go on an apprentice program. So it's networking beyond just this, but that's immediate income to them. You're looking at, if they really worked it, they could probably make about $1,000 a month, maybe more. You hit a home run. But most people, if they went in there, they're probably going to be looking at about, $300 to $400 a month.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think, again, what a great opportunity. And I like the whole idea around the network and the purpose, really driving business development and a business mindset, which I think is phenomenal. Hey, you mentioned earlier that you have a business partner, Brad. I'm always intrigued. A lot of the CEOs that I work with and CEOs that are in business, sometimes they have a business partnership. How do you guys work through making decisions as a leadership team? And do you divide the business? Do you have to have 100% agreement? How did you guys come to that philosophy, and what's worked for you?
It's funny because Dean came to me. Hey, Dean, come back here for a minute.
Oh, Dean.
Colonel. So I call him Brad. Brad Dean, Colonel Dean. Anyway, he's an awesome guy. He's coming in the picture in just a second. We pulled over to the gas station, but so the way it happened was I said, hey, Brad, there's the Colonel. Anyway, we said, hey, let's do 50-50. I don't feel right. And Brad immediately said, nope, you're 51%. I'm 50 or 49. I don't want to make the tough decisions. So it's funny that you asked that, because I literally had to tell Brad, say, Brad, I need you to be more vocal. And he's been at War College and he's been doing a lot of things, but you learn a lot on your social media marketing team. You learn a lot on fulfillment, and you get burned some. And so Brad owns his own helicopter company as well. He's got, three helicopters now. He has a hog hunting company that he does. And so anyway, so the way we divide it up, I don't even know how to say it. It just works. I love him. And I mean, there's really nothing he can say or do. Well, maybe there is a line somewhere, but we love one another enough that if we do get on each other's nerves, we know it immediately. We work it out. And fortunately, praise God, it just keeps working.
That's excellent. Hey, well, Brad, congratulations as well on your graduation, and well done on that. Where's your helicopter company?
Can you hear, Brad?
Yeah, I can hear.
I said, congratulations, well done. Where's your helicopter company located?
We have, we got one up in Maine that we're working on closing now, and now we're down in south of Waco, is where all of our land and our operations are. So we were in Bowie, Texas for the first 3 years, and now we've moved down south of Waco, Texas there. So just hunt pigs out of helicopters. And, I've been doing that about 6 years.
Excellent. Well, very good. That's very impressive. Hey, Brad, when you when you guys make a decision together, is it based a lot on values? Or, I mean, I love the idea that you love each other, but is there a system of but is there a system of values that you walk down, or that you think about as you say, hey, we value this, and so therefore that helps us to have clarity around the decision that we need to make?
Very much, 100%. And that's the big piece I bring to the organization between Chad and I, being the veteran. So Chad will come up with these great ideas, and sometimes I got to pull the reins back a little bit. As you guys can't tell, he gets pretty excited. And so as the Colonel comes in, I'm like, all right, that's great. I appreciate your excitement and your eagerness to go, but you're looking at it from a civilian mindset. The veterans are going to just eat you up and spit you out. They're just they're a different crowd. The nice thing about the veteran community too is when you get in that circle, there's nothing like it. Being that I'm National Guard, so I work 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year on the Army. I put the uniform on, but when I'm not doing that, I'm doing my civilian job. The full-time job is doing medical supplies like Chad, implants, and then having a couple of the businesses on the side I've worked with. But I haven't found that anywhere else. There's even in the civilian industry, I've made a lot of friends. Again, going to sales meetings, I consider them a part of my circle. But when the things get bad, I've never, man, I'm telling you, there's not another group that whenever you serve with them, they've got your back 100%. Politics are not involved. Money is not involved. Popularity not involved. And civilian business model, as you know, you might be good friends with somebody and have a good business partner, but when the necks start getting cut, man, they back off really quick, and you start turning around, you're by yourself. And the military, it's just not that way. So to come full circle into your question, yes, there's a lot of values that we talk about, and at the end of the day, hey, does this help the vets? Are we truly empowering are we truly doing what we're saying? Because if we're not, thank God, we both have full-time jobs. So the Scars and Stripes company, and my mom was not looking at me. I'm like, I swear this one's going to work. This one's going to work, right? So the bills are still getting paid. So we have some flexibility to take some time on some decisions. We're not stressed in the back corner like trying to make our monthly payments. Not trying to push to sell coffee and making bad decisions. So I think the biggest thing for us is also we want to be very open. So when people do, because we get scrutinized. I mean, again, the veteran name, like Chad, I heard him talking earlier. Seems a lot of people or some veterans are disgruntled because they feel like the name's been used. Thank you for your support. You support a veteran. And when you really dig into it, at the end of the day, 1% goes to the veterans. The other 99 goes to the corporation. Right. And so we want to keep our books open. I cannot wait for somebody to say, hey, let us see your books. And absolutely, because of what we do make, we put back into the company. And right off the get-go, 20% goes directly to the veteran. And I based on our research, I've done a whole full year of research at War College. I haven't found one company that comes even close to doing that. So again, I made a long response to your question, but yes, a lot of thought goes into it, more so than my other companies. Again, the aviation company, a lot's about profit and loss. I mean, huge as most companies. But with this one, what we've done differently is, we're not counting on it for a paycheck to feed our families. Number two, we can have some time to think about the values. For sure. Yeah.
Well, I think your question is so powerful, right? It's a simple question, but it really shapes, I would guess, all of the decisions. Does it help the vets? And that's a great place to start from a question perspective. And I think for our businesses and the CEOs that are here, coming up with that fundamental question that you're asking yourself, whether it's about, does this help my customer? Is this something that would benefit my employees? Is this something that's going to help the company? Whatever that fundamental question is, I think it's really critical. So thank you for clarifying that. I think that's very helpful. Hey, obviously, we're in the middle of this COVID pandemic and it's impacted business in lots of different ways. I know your business is set up where they can order online and through your web portal. And Chad, I love your vision about being the next Amazon and even replacing Starbucks. I'd love to get some of these secular companies out of the way. I mean, not that I'm against them too much, but for real, I mean, they're out there promoting all kinds of things and putting money towards things that really aren't necessarily advantageous for Christians per se. So I love that vision. But how has the virus impacted your company? And have you seen that downstream from the distributors where they can't get out maybe and host events, or how have you guys pivoted during this time?
The one thing I like, and looking back at the other companies that I've ran before, but this one in particular is that Chad, when we first started, he wanted the brick and mortar. I mean, he wanted to go right at the throat of Starbucks, and I pushed back on that really, really hard. We had a restaurant business, we had an antique store. I said, Chad, man, that brick and mortar, since he's never had that.
When he grew up, his parents did. Sorry.
So we're not. Again, employees are difficult to manage, but when you have a brick and mortar and that over your head, it pigeonholes you. I think the best thing for our company, I'll let Chad speak a little bit more on it, but what I've seen, the online business has saved us because people don't have to leave the house. They can get stuff shipped to them. And if we didn't have that, that is our overhead. We have no brick and mortar. And I love the fact, Chad might say something different, but that's why he has 51%. But
Well, he may have 51%, but you win the arguments. I can tell.
Every time.
Yeah.
You can see how the interview's going since he's coming here.
It's not easy. Yeah. But the brick and mortar, I just always shied away from because it just adds so much other to it. But I think for the virus and what's done for us, the online thing is totally saved us. I mean, keep us from going where we had to shut the doors, and it's kept operations normal.
I would say that it's actually allowed us to kind of think of some things that we might have not thought of. And one of it was with a concept called behind the bean, which is really kind of started to expand itself. But basically, it's an interview between a veteran and then maybe a celebrity. So like John Rich, which John Rich is an amazing patriot, big and rich. He's becoming a very good friend of ours, but he does so much and he's a real. So he got on and did an interview with one of our first sergeants. And then we had some other people get on to do behind the bean and learn about that veteran. And that really gained a lot of traction. It really, there was a lot of, and that probably wouldn't have happened, if we wouldn't have, I remember kind of getting biblically here, but it reminded me when, Jesus and the disciples are going across, I can't remember what, somebody going to help me out here, but the lake, but it got real stormy, right? And I don't know what Jesus was doing that day, but he was so tired that he could sleep through this entire storm. And, the disciples, wait, Jesus, wake up. And his first thing he said, guys, do you not have any faith in me? You're good. And it reminded me of, listen, you're going through a storm right now, and everybody is, but you're going to be good. Keep your eyes focused on me. And I think we're going to come out of this thing finding a new platform that may have not happened had we not gone through this crisis and behind the bean, because I'm getting a lot of, like, we've actually kind of stopped it for a little bit because we're getting our events going again, and people are asking, hey, when's the next behind the bean? So that's one thing and it's actually allowing our veterans to become better at what they do. If they're nervous, I mean, people will be like, I don't care what I do, just don't make me talk in front of people, and it's getting them out of their comfort zone, and it's allowing a leader to coach them through. So it's another empowerment of that veteran, and they promote their own code, while they're on the behind the bean. So that's probably what I've learned for sure.
Well, can you talk just really briefly about the web portal? And I know a lot of the businesses that we work with are brick and mortar. They're having to think about the online sales now, or even, looking at expanding the market. From a startup, because you guys started it from zero, how did you develop that web portal, and how expensive was that for you?
Gosh, I would tell you that you're gonna. It's a weird time right now because everybody's looking for work. So you actually might find a good programmer that can do a good website for you. But I'll tell you, just from because that is our brick and mortar, as Brad would say. Our first website cost us $10,000. Our branding cost us $5,000, and we love our brand. But in the grand scheme of things, if you develop a multi-million-dollar company, you'd spend that every day. So then what we wanted to do is we wanted to be able to provide that was our proof of concept. And so we said, okay, it's working. So now can we make it better? And now we've invested into a more customized website it's been a year in the making, and we have a programmer doing it. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to not only empower a veteran, but empower a veteran that's local to you. So that vet generator will actually take all the zip codes of the leaders that are in your area. So if you're from Texas, you know that you're empowering a local veteran nearest to you based on your website or based on your zip code, or different forms of doing it. But it's going to allow us to expand a lot. We spent $56,000. Let's tell you, we spent $56,000 on this total customized website, but we had to come up with a sales dashboard. Our next phase is to have a full-on sales training portal to go through. It's also the Bible studies will go through that. We'll be able to check on when someone signs up, their leader can see, have they gone and take all the training portals or help me out here.
Yeah, just all the training modules. And the biggest thing is websites can range anywhere from the GoDaddies, get yourself a .com, and to where ours is now when you say brick and mortar. So that means is it has to pay our employees. It has to track their sales. It has to show the month, the month compared to last month, so they can see if they have any type of
because we pay contest bonus as well. So
our website depends on how deep you want to get your website, how integrated you want it into your business is going to go to your cost. So again, you can have just your basic click on it, and there's a website that's advertising to the point where now it's click on it and it's tracking that sale. It's sending a text to the person that just bought it. It's tracking the shipment of it can get very, very detailed, and that's where your expense comes in.
I would say that one thing we've learned late in the process is find somebody that you trust, or you can hopefully you can find them. If you don't, we'll help you out. But a consultant, depending on how difficult you want to make this thing happen, find a translator, somebody that's trained IT, but maybe is not a programmer, but maybe has been in sales or whatever market you're in, that can be the translator between you and the programmer. Because the worst thing you can do is say, hey, I want to do this. And the programmer's going, yeah, oh, we can do it. We got you. We understand everything. Can I see a storyboard? Don't worry about the storyboard. We'll get to it. Do not do that. If you cannot get them to show you, we want X, Y, and Z to happen and this happen, and you might find a great guy, a great programmer, and they're saying yes because they need some money, but really you get to the end of it and they're like, well, I thought you meant this. We didn't mean that. And so look at your contract, get that consultant, because they'll look at your contract and say, don't sign this. You don't own the rights to it. Did you not know you don't own the rights to it? No, you don't own the rights to it.
So you pay for a product and they come up with a product and you don't have access to access. They can take access away, and then it doesn't belong to you. So we're speaking from experience, but it's good thing it was on a small scale, not on a large scale.
That's what Brad said. I like that. Have a small crash, not a big crash. But the other thing is he's been in a helicopter crash, he knows. So, but the other thing is your social media. Know what you want out of your social media team. Try to get. It's kind of like probably the rule you guys live by. I love all these business consultants who come up to me and say, hey, we need to talk about your business. And I'll be great. What company did you run? Well, I didn't run a company, but I know a lot and I've read a lot of books. Same thing with social media. Hey, what company did you take from zero to a multi-million-dollar company? You didn't? Okay, next. Yeah. And keep going till you find that right person that, and then also look at your content. Back to the website. Ask, hey, what's the maintenance on this website going to cost? Shopify, if you're doing it, is a wonderful, wonderful website. They have so many different plug and plays. If it's not too complex, they're going to have something to. So don't get somebody out there going, oh, you don't want Shopify. What you want is me to build you a customized website. Because with customized website comes a retainer fee. I promise you. Yep. Oh, you're going to have to pay us for our hours now. I love this one. That's out of scope. Yeah. They love that one because when they say out of scope, that means more dollar signs. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but just get to know your social media. Ask the tough questions. Hey, what company did you build from zero to $12 million company? Hey, can you look at our on our social media? Hey, let's do a top line percentage, right? So when we make money, you make money, but we're not going to pay you a flat fee of $5,000 a month. Let's pay you 10% of top line earnings or 8%, and then. Because really, you got to put fuel, and the fuel's the ad spend. That's where the big dollars come in. Let's say you build a piece of content and you want to push it out. If you just put the content out there, it's no different than you taking a picture and put it on your Facebook. You got to put power behind that. You got to target that thing. And Facebook and Google, they want their money. That's all. I mean, it is what it is, and we know what they can do. So it is what it is. It's the world we live in.
No, that's good advice, especially the translator piece. I think that's extremely helpful. Hey, we're just a couple more minutes left with Brad and Chad. So if you have a question, shoot it to me real quick. Hey, one of the questions that I got or received was around, can you tell us more about the products that are on your website that you sell right now? And then what products do you see coming in the next 12 to 18 months?
So the products, this is our motto. We have the best sales force, so we're going to have the best products. Our coffee is single origin. Top 20%. They come from small farms so that we handpick our cherries. And what that means is you wouldn't eat a green banana because it's not ripe and it's bitter. And that's why all of our coffee is very smooth. We have 100% Kona coffee as well. We wanted to have 100% American made coffee. That's just kind of important to us. So our coffee is top notch. It is some of the best coffee you're going to have at a very reasonable price for the type of coffee. The other thing is our shirts. We are actually looking to move toward, we use Bella Canvas now. We're looking to move to an all American made. And so we're going to be moving as much as we possibly can where it makes sense to American made products. Not that, we can't spread the kingdom throughout the world, but we're going to try to do what we can here. And so the next products we're going to add, it's a really good question.
What we found, I'll jump in. I can tell my 49% jumping in again. The best parts we found is for us and the veterans, we found the T-shirts and the hats and the apparel is the best rate of return that we're getting.
So best margin.
So for the margin that goes by, we have another person that helps us out in our company. We have a company meeting once a week and let him dig through the numbers. And he has a construction company. And he went through all of our numbers for us. Because guys, we know you're passionate. We know you're going for the coffee. But if you looked at your return for your profits, we found it was the shirts, it was the hats. So now what we're going to do, mostly put our focus on that. What I also like about the company and the veterans is that we'll put that idea out there to them. Go, guys, we're thinking about putting a bean on this, or a jacket, a hoodie,
or the name of a new roast.
The name of a new roast is the biggest thing. You'd be surprised the ideas you get back from your employees that are actually out on the streets. They're the ones in the trenches that are seeing. They're the ones that are doing the events. So that's where I want to pull all the data from. Basically call it a recon, if you will, and get that information, then bring it up to the chain of command and go, all right, what do you think? What's feasible? Of course, you want an RV and paint the big bean on the side. That's great, but it doesn't make any business sense. So it goes through different layers up to the chain of command. So as far as products, hats, shirts, we pretty much have all the coffee flavors that we have found, because we've had, as you know, if you own a business, we call them loonies. What you need is you need a DK. What you need
that's the one thing you're
what
careful
you need
of.
is like, okay, you don't have this coffee company, we do. So as far as the bean flavors stuff go, I think we're fine. I think the new things you'll be seeing rolling out is going to be merchandise.
I love it. I think that's a fantastic. Go ahead, Chad. Did you have
We have one of the things that beard oil seems to be high on the totem pole for some reason. I'm not kidding. They've been asking.
The best like their beards. For sure.
Yes, they want a beard oil.
I'm still in, so I can't grow one.
Well, I've got a small one, but it's just starting, so I need to grow it out a little bit more. Hey, that's fantastic. Hey guys, one of the things that I'd like to do before we end today is I always like to know how we can be praying for you and what specific you'd like us to ask, our sovereign God to do for you and for your business. Do you have a prayer request that you'd like to ask?
I do. I think it should be for all of us. It's the COVID right now for us. I mean, I think it's affecting all businesses. It's affecting churches. It's affecting our society and community. So I think that would cover pretty much everybody. I'm going to not speak for Chad if there's something else you'd want to request, but I think that pretty much covers the gamut for everybody, even on the call.
Mm-hmm. What I always pray for myself is the devil's the great deceiver, and all of us on here, I think, are going to come out as we could potentially be we could all flourish. And it's a fine line between humility and pride, and how quickly our businesses take off. And at one time it was all about Jesus, and now it's all about me, and I did this, we did that, I did. And so I just pray for that guidance of stay humble. Let's keep our eyes focused on Jesus always. And we're nothing without him. And that's gains through all the strength through that.
I love it. Hey, can I pray for you guys real quick, and then we'll end the
Yes, sir.
All right. Father, I come before you. I do thank you for this company, Scars and Stripes. And I just ask that you give it favor. Father, just as Chad mentioned, help us to keep our eyes on Jesus. It's not about our power, our strength, or our might. It is really by his stripes that we've been healed, and as their company represents. And so, Father, as they travel around the country right now to meet with their teammates and team members, I pray that you give them safety. Let those meetings that they have be times of encouragement and support. And Father, I just pray that through this company, your kingdom is impacted. And so I pray that they'll find supporters, they'll find new team members, that it'll just continue to grow and flourish because of the mission that they have. And the mission is to support the veterans, but also to have a kingdom impact. So I thank you for these two men and what they do and what they're about in their heart as they go about doing it. So Father, we long to hear the words, well done. And that is our goal and desire. So Father, help them to hear those words as well as they journey through life. And then of course, at the end of their life, and they meet you for the first time. We pray these things now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us today. You've been fantastic. I greatly appreciate it. And
Appreciate you guys.
to anybody listening, and of course we'll be posting this, don't forget to go to starsandstripescoffee.com and get your coffee in support of that.